Ladies and gentlemen, we do thank you very much for your attention, and now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the 10
Welcome to our top travel destinations. I am your host, Kevin Flanagan. I have been editor of the weekly travel news column in the Sunday Independent and the Fine Wine and Food Guide, and I am here to use my decades of experience to help you know exactly where to stay, eat, drink, shop, and explore when visiting the world's top travel destinations. So sit back and enjoy the wonders of travel as we take off on our magical journey together. Welcome to Kevin's Top Travel Destinations. This time we go back to one of my favourite cities, a city that has been my home for the last several decades. Yes, I'm talking about Dublin, the capital of Ireland, and what better time to give you an insight into Dublin than when spring has sprung. Yes, we're talking about that most wonderful time of the year, the time of renewal, the time of rebirth, the time of growth. I remember one of the poets, Ananias Young, saying that at the end of a day in spring you should smell like dirt. And what does she mean by that? It means going down into the earth, because this is the time when nature suddenly shows the miracle of her garments. Plants grow, animals come out, breeding starts, a little chirrup of life in the air. There's light in the evening. And for human beings as well as the animal kingdom, hope is renewed. And from a personal point of view, I think this renewal has an incredible impact on health and longevity. In fact, the research shows that when nature does spring this wonderful miracle every year, that our mental health actually increases. So then you see the miracle of life. You know, the grey is replaced with colour, the cold with warmth, and those dead flower banks suddenly have the miracle of life. So what better place to enjoy this incredible annual miracle than in some of the parks of Dublin? And Dublin is uniquely blessed with parks. It goes back to the imperial times. One thing that the Empire of the English did bestow on the city of Dublin was some great architecture and some wonderful parks. And these have been nurtured since Ireland won its independence. It is now really honouring some of the heritage that it's inherited. So I'm going to give you my own top 6 places to go. So if you are visiting Dublin or you are a Dubliner, try these places because you will find nowhere like them on earth. And another thing, they are all totally free. Number 1 has to be the Botanic Gardens in Glasnevin. These are one of the great glories. You will find trees, shrubs, arboreal delights from all around the world. But in spring, it's like suddenly someone has lifted the curtain on a light show, a colour show, a show that will literally delight and warm your heart and nurture your spirit. It's a fantastic place. You can walk to it from the city centre. You can get buses out to the nearby Glasnevin Cemetery. There's a place that you can actually walk through the cemetery, which is full of wonderful people, extraordinary characters of Dublin life, all the way through to the absolute master playwright. Brendan Behan was really a genius and did suffer from that Dublin debilitation of alcoholism, but some of his works, and what you can see on his gravestone is this little hole in the gravestone where you can put a pint in honour of the man, if that is your ilk. But once you've passed that, you can go into the Botanic Gardens, and here you will find greenhouses, walls of glass that are filled with every sort of smell, shape and colour. And then the flower beds outside have been absolutely pristinely new, with their growths of flowers and the smell that fills the air. It is one of the wonders. You can wander down by the lake, see the ducks. You'll soon see the little babies that are coming out from the swans and the ducks. It is really one of the great delights. So that's my number one spot. Don't miss the Botanic Gardens. Next, go into the city centre and you will come across one of the great universities of the world. I'm talking about Trinity College. What's great about Trinity is it is a working university. It is a thoroughfare for people going about their business in Dublin. You can go in Nassau Street, you can go down by the main bank, you can go by Lincoln's Gate, and you will find Dubliners and tourists use at Trinity College for a place of repose, to take their lunch and just to have some sort of refreshment in the middle of the concrete jungle. This is one of the great things about parks, is because you can actually see the growth of nature on which we rely and which we much abuse, as we all know. But in Trinity, you can find little nooks and crannies. And there's one particular nook just behind the Science Museum place, right in the middle, just in front of the rugby pitch. There is a little arboreal place where you will find the blossoms come out. And Dublin is a place of blossom. I'm luckily to have returned from Tokyo, and there, of course, I saw the first blossoms come out. But Japan does not have the full say on blossoms. Dublin has its fair share of extraordinary blossom places, and I'm going to give you my insight into a couple of them. Start off in Trinity College, Dublin. Behind the rugby pitch, you will find a wonderful set of trees. They're very ancient, and one of them is weighed down with apple blossom, and the smell alone will make you heady with spring delight. You can take a short walk then up Dawson Street and you'll come to one of the great greens, St. Stephen's Green, where you will find another absolute gallery of blossom. Just behind the main lake, where you will see the swans and their cygnets, you will see life in spring coming to life literally in front of your eyes. And if you walk behind, you will see this absolute garland, this ribbon of blossoms, pink and white, that will shower you with the little petals as you walk through. If you continue walking from St. Stephen's Green, you will come to Merrion Square. It's literally a 5-minute walk away. And here again is a different sort of delight. There are blossom trees, but there are every sort of tree. And then there's this huge, wonderful expanse of grass in the middle, and a special place I want you all to go. Yes, I'm sure you've heard of Father Ted. Dermot Morgan was a friend of mine. I knew him well, I'm lucky to say. He was Father Ted. He created the series. A much maligned man in Ireland. He had, like many Irish people, to go abroad to find fame and fortune, which he did with Father Ted. Channel 4 took it up, and then the Irish followed rather shamefully after, I have to say. He had a hard time, but that's another story, another podcast. But wonderfully, there are so many things that are done when people of renown die. And I think one of the greatest memorials is the Father Ted chair. It's a bronze chair. It stands in the middle of this wonderful the centre of Merrion Square, and you can sit there and you can muse on Father Ted. You can muse on Dermot Morgan, and you'll get a great view of the spring. So go there, put a spring in your step, and enjoy the Father Ted chair, which I've often done with my grandkids and my son and our family over the years. It's sort of a memorial. Now, if you want to experience something else, a little bit out, there are two great parks I'm going to suggest you have a look at. Both are easily accessible by bus. The Phoenix Park, of course, is one of the great parks of Europe, one of the biggest parks. And here you will find the American Embassy, and you will find where the President of Ireland, Oris O'Riordan, his abode is there, and you can go and visit both if you pre-book. And you can certainly stand outside and look in. It's a great, great park with deer, with polo fields, with cricket fields, and of course the great Dublin Zoo, which we'll devote another podcast to. Another park I would recommend you go to is St Anne's Park in Clontarf. You take a bus or the Dart along the coast road, you will get this extraordinary view of Dublin from the coast on the north side. This was one of the Guinness homes, one of the great rich families who put a lot of their money into these extraordinary estates that they had around Dublin. And one of these is St Anne's Park, and here you will find follies, you will find these extraordinary buildings that don't make any sense other than they just were created because the Guinnesses had lots of money and they created these wonderful parks and they created these extraordinary lakes. And here you have these little follies. So go to St Anne's. They also have a rose garden, which is just starting to give you a little taste of spring. And the daffodils are out and the fields are full of kids and dogs running around. It's a wonderful delight. And if you go to the Red Stables, you can have a lovely coffee and something to eat. And then I saved my best till last, which is Herbert Park. Herbert Park is in the heart of Dublin floor. It's near the old American Embassy. It's near the Royal Dublin Society. It is a very special park. And here it has a place really special for my heart, because this is where I used to walk with my friend Paul McGlade. And there is this place, two paths interlock, and you get apple and you get cherry blossom. And they only last for about 3 weeks. And if you walk up this avenue, you'll actually enter heaven. And I can remember once turning to Paul and saying, we're trillionaires, not billionaires, to be able to experience that. And he was in full agreement. So I always go there and make it part of my pilgrimage to welcome in spring, to welcome in this wonderful part of the year. And Herbert Park has it in spades when it comes to blossom. It really, for me, matches the Imperial Gardens of Japan, which I've been to, where they have their own blossom, but blossom is blossom. It's an everyday miracle. And I think you can really get the sense of the hope that comes when spring arrives. Because, as the poet said, where flowers bloom, so does hope. So visit these parks and enjoy the wonder of spring in Dublin. It's like nothing on earth.